Right, folks, welcome to Communication Work Group Day number 5. We are rolling along here. It is February. We have a couple more sessions left. Today we have an exciting speaker, and we'll kind of start with our agenda. We've got our group norms on the next slide, and also a QR code that goes to the Communication Bill of Rights. After a short review of that, we're going to welcome our guest speaker. We have Angela Powell joining us. She's a teacher of blind and low vision learners and outreach consultant for Kentucky School for the Blind, and she's going to talk to us about tactile symbols and communication. We'll have some time, as always, to break out and have some discussion. And then Angela shared some really nice research with us. So I've got those links for us. And then we'll look forward to our March 11th guest, Heidi. All right, here's our norms. And you can revisit that link to the Communication Bill of Rights at any time. And if there's any of these that particularly stand out to you, you can put that in the chat. Something you want to hold space for today. Really like number 5, not needing to answer every question. And let's move right into our speaker. We have Angela Powell with us today. She's going to talk to us about tactile symbols and communication. And I'll read a little bit about Angela to you now. So Angela is the outreach consultant for Kentucky School for the Blind, serving the Green River region, South Central area in Kentucky. She was just telling me where that is. It includes 27 counties and 34 school districts. And her main focus is to provide teachers of students with low vision and blindness and students with resources, technology, opportunities to explore the expanded core curriculum, trainings, coachings, and any other needs and services that help professionals and students be successful. And she absolutely loves her job. So we welcome Angela. And Angela, do you need for me to stop sharing to share, or are you okay?
I do have a few pictures to share so they can kind of see some things that were created. So I do have a slideshow.
And welcome. Thanks so much for being with us,
No
especially
problem.
a little later in the day for you.
So I'll get started. And one thing that, first of all, I'm excited to be with you all. So yeah, she's right. I do a little bit of everything. I had wrote this blog. It's been a few years ago before I was an outreach consultant, when I did work as, we call them TBIs in Kentucky, when I was working there. I was a TBI for several years and had decided to explore. I was working closely actually with a professor from the University of Kentucky and was really exploring tactile symbols and had some students that I really wanted to be able to increase some communication with. And I didn't, once I kind of ran into these symbols, I didn't understand why they honestly weren't being utilized more. So that was something I really wanted to jump into. So I really worked closely with Mr. Abner, who is retired now. And I miss him immensely. If you've ever got to meet him, he is a blessing. And so I kind of jumped in, and so I kind of picked one student to really do trial and error with. His name was William, and his mom actually worked for the school district, so that kind of gave me an opportunity to be able to share a whole lot of information with everyone, and she gave me permission just to share all the things. So, if you're not familiar with the cards, I kind of just made a little cheat sheet of what they stand for. So, the tops of them, how they feel, and the colors kind of stand for something different. So, this was something with William that I wanted to do. So, a little background with him. William had CVI, or cortical visual impairment, and He also had cerebral palsy or CP, so he had a little limited movement. He would speak some language, but not a lot. And so we really wanted to figure out something. Well, they were giving him all these devices and kind of just pitching them at him, and he wasn't doing well with anything really. That the speech therapists were giving him. So that was kind of the thing. And so I was like, you know what, let's try this. And the buy-in was kind of the biggest thing for me of how can I get everybody on board to do this? Because I knew if I was the only one doing it, it just wasn't going to work. And so the biggest thing was getting his teachers on board with saying, hey, if we can get this to work, you can use this for progress monitoring to monitor his goals. You can get this for sentence writing. I mean, he can use this also to create sentences. We could use it for so many things. And so the buy-in was the biggest thing. And once I did that, um, everybody was on board. And so the biggest thing then was getting and everybody had fun creating. So I honestly kind of had like a team helping me create symbols as well. So um, I was kind of blessed in that point. But I did let William create his own name. He loved Legos, and so that was kind of an easy thing for him. He loved to touch and feel, so they did have centers, and so they had, a lot of them had little pictures or something on them. Well, he used his for his center. So, and he loved the fact that he had something he could move and he knew what it was because before he couldn't see what his picture was and he never could find it. And so he would never use it. And so once we did that, he would actually use his name and move it to the centers and then participate in, that was it, what color are you wearing that day? And he would actually do it. So we were excited about that. Um, so I think the biggest thing of trial and error was just where to start because it was kind of overwhelming. If you've ever saw a core board, it's a lot. And so that was the biggest thing with me. So we just decided to do people. He knew people, he loved being around people. And so we did all his teachers and service providers, and he had the gamut. So that was the biggest thing. And so just anything to represent them. And of course, glasses for me, anything to do with the eyes. And then the service providers was the rest of them. So his teacher was actually a crown, and that was kind of the ongoing joke. And all the students, she always told him that she was the queen of the classroom, and so we gave her a crown, and he completely understood that because she did say that a lot. So everybody kind of had their own symbol, but he learned those quickly. And the reason we made them people and not places, like he's going to speech or he's going to OT, is because a lot of times, as we know, is a different place. They might go outside or they may go to a different room. And so that didn't seem so concrete to me, which is important. And so that was why we did people instead of a place. And so there was a process. And so we found that playing a game. And so once he mastered so many at a time, we would add at that point. But we did his name and then other people's names. We always made sure, though, that when a service provider came in, that they were to make him grab their name so that to get that extra practice every time. And so he did really well with that. But we would do tons of games when I came in, and as you can see, I used a board that had Velcro that could stand up with him. And we did all kinds of fun games with it, and I would say, hey, let's see how fast you could do because he loved being competitive. And so we would do all kinds of games. So that was a big one for him. Later, we did add words, just simple more, no, yes, help, want, eat, and go. And once he got the hang of those, he started going really quickly. His teacher loved this to the point she actually gave me a bulletin board. So she was like, hey, look, you can have your own space. This is fantastic. William was in a wheelchair, so this is why she gave me a bulletin board so he could have access to his cards. And so that tells you the buy-in is important. And once she saw that it was working, she was ready. She was like, "Look, here's your space." And so he would roll himself over and get what he needed to communicate. Now, since then, where I do go to so many districts, I have really enjoyed seeing some creative ways that teachers have found to have students carry these. There have been students that with their canes, they will, make holes in them and clip them onto their canes, like, get a loop, clip them on, and they can take them everywhere they go. And I thought that is one of the cooler things that I have seen. There are really, really neat travel ideas that where the kids can take them where they go, which is important, especially with that communication factor. So, um, but this was one for him that was really neat for him that he thought he had his own space. So he really enjoyed that part. We also had some folders that the speech therapist would use. She really liked doing this. She would take it with her and she would practice with him as well. So she kind of made this for him. That was one thing she had made. Now I use this just because I'm cheap and we can get this from APH. So, I didn't have to make anything. But this is something I would use as well to be portable. If I took him down the hallway or something, I would just stick them in there and they, would Velcro in and we would take it with us. His mom loved this as well. So we would make double copies and he could take them home. Again, I wish I had the ring I did. That was not mine. I think that was brilliant. Of course, you do have to drill a hole. They're not easy to drill in, but once you have it, it's amazing to do it that way. Um, and then of course here he is. So I do have permission to share his picture. He was doing great things here. So this is a lot of the ways. This is when I would play a game with him. A lot of times we would do race games or, can you find? And I would give him a prompt and he would find what I wanted him to find while he was learning the cards. So, and then that is him actually grabbing one. So um, again, he was my first real big experience with using tactile communication. But after that, I think once I learned, and then I started doing training as well, and you have that experience and people see the success and it kind of starts carrying over. And honestly, there are tons of my TBIs that use it now. And it has been a wonderful thing here. And it's just a natural thing that we really use here. And of course, we end up growing to something like this. That's the goal. So this is a big core board and we have students that use some bigger than this. So it is fantastic. So I've learned a lot of things. And again, that was kind of my beginning. So what had happened is, like I said, I was working with a professor that was a professor at University of Kentucky. He was fantastic. He was in the um, visual impairments program. And I was taking an assistive technology course actually at the time. And somehow I got stuck with him. I don't even know how we came together, but we did. And we really started this project, and that's how the blog come along. And I've really learned a lot since the blog, honestly, but William has come a long way since and is still using tactile communication. He's doing fantastic, but I've learned a lot as well as far as anything. And feel free to stop me and ask questions because that's also something that you are more welcome to do. I do trainings all the time, and you're more than welcome to butt in at any time. But as far as pictures, this is what I have. But if you want to stop and ask questions about my experience or anything that I may know or may not know, because I don't claim to know all things, feel free to ask.
This is great, Angela. And I think what we'll do, if it's okay with you, is that we'll break up into groups.
Yeah.
And we can spend a little time in our groups, but then come back together And then you will obviously be in a group as well. So somebody will be lucky enough to have you. But then we can also have a little bit of time at the end after people have a chance to kind of talk to others and get those perspectives from our different disciplines. And so I put into the link or into the chat the link to the slides. And you're going to be put into one of 4 breakout rooms right now. And you can put your notes, just like we have been doing, onto that slide. So here's the slide that you can access. And Ajane will put us into our breakout rooms now. And just be sure to put some notes on there. And we'll be back in 20 minutes. And we are just about out of time. So this will all be accessible. And we're just really looking forward to Heidi next month. She's been with us every month as a participant. And in March, she's going to be our speaker and talk to us about collaboration to support communication. Heidi, you want to give a little, I don't know, like a little insight to what you're going to tell us about?
Sure. I'm going to share a couple of case studies. We have a lot of AAC users in our district because we are a fairly large district, and so we've got one who is using the Tactile communication board. So we're going to share kind of how we landed there and kind of what some of our future plans are for him. And then we've got a gentleman a young man who's got CVI and a very complex body, and he's doing 2-step scanning and a little bit of eye gaze and a lot of partner assisted scanning, and is really doing some great academic work as well. So we can kind of like what Brenda and Sari talked about last month and what Angela talked about this month, kind of like two cases and how we kind of ended up with the different things. So
I love it. Thanks, Heidi. We're really looking forward to that. So we will see you guys back again on March 11th. And Angela, you're registered now, so you can even join us if you're not
Oh,
doing
I would love
anything at
that.
6:30 p.m. that night.
I would love it.
Thanks so much again for joining us, Angela. And I hope everybody stays warm and has a wonderful Valentine's Day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye bye.